Hello and welcome. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about the new Kosas Revealer Skin Improving Foundation. I have the shade 160. Have I been buying a lot of complexion products recently? Yes, and I will try to scale it back, but I have to admit, there have been a lot of new releases that are just super up my alley, and obviously they know they're doing this because that's the trend right now, these light to medium buildable, very skin-like, hydrating, base products. It's been all the rage and I'm really struggling to hold back. In any case, I was drawn to this one the most because of their shade range. Kosas, they have the Revealer Concealer, which a lot of people love. I have done a review on it and it wasn't super up my alley for one reason, because of the scent, which I'll come back to. And the shade was not as perfect as I thought it would be. It was still a little bit off for me, so I thought I would couldn't help but love it because the shade was just right, but didn't exactly measure up to be the case. And then in terms of finish and application, it was kind of not really beating out concealers that I already love. So that's the gist of that. But despite not loving that one, I still wanted to give this a try because I had been seeing some people in all of makeup forums talking about how the shade 160 is a really good matchup for the Koh Gen Do Aqua foundation in the shade 213. And that was what really prompted me to go ahead and try this because I love this foundation. If it wasn't for the price, this would probably be my all-time favorite foundation. It is so thin, so weightless, so skin-like, a cut above other foundations I have tried, which I've tried a lot in this sort of lightweight skin-like category, right? It just creates the thinnest layer on the face. It doesn't really build up for me beyond medium or maybe even a light-ish medium, but still it just looks so beautiful. It's my perfect match, truly, and I just feel great when I put this on. That being said, it is $77, which is outrageous, and because it's so lightweight and fluid and not that heavy coverage, you go through this 1 ounce pretty quickly. I've shaken it up, but there's kind of when it settles, there's this line of demarcation, and I've used up about this much of it based on that line. And I haven't used this foundation that much. Usually I feel a bottle of medium coverage foundation will last me at least a year, because I have a couple foundations, right? With very consistent use, at least a year, probably a little bit more. But I feel this one, I've been trying to use it less since noticing how quickly I can go through it. And I really hate that feeling when it comes to makeup, especially nice makeup, because I spent so much money. I want to just enjoy it and use it up. But man, I feel I could whip through this in the matter of 2-3 months tops if I was using this as my daily foundation, which is outrageous given how much it costs. So I wanted to kind of compare the Kosas one up against it, and I will say I'm glad I did it. Okay, so let's get into it. It's $40 for your standard 1 ounce. It comes in nicer packaging than this one. The Koh Gen Do is all plastic, and this lid, you can hear it, it's rattling around in there. But Kosas, super sturdy, nice glass frosted bottle. The pump works great. I can pump out half a pump or a full pump. In any case, well, that's a small detail that I do appreciate. Some pumps you can only ever pump out 1 full pump and can't control less. Getting into the formula itself, it has a very nice shade range, and I do feel Kosas does a good job with shade ranges. Where they don't do a good job is their lack of preservatives. IMO, they are a clean beauty brand, which is cool, I guess, but it comes at the cost of potentially not lasting as long. There is conveniently an expiration printed on the back of this, which is July 2023, so I have about a little more than a year to use it up, which I think is fine, assuming it does last that long. I have heard a lot of reviews of the revealer concealer going off very quickly, so I am curious to see if that'll happen to this. And then I think because of their choice of preservatives or whatever other consequences of this, their formulations, at least between the concealer and this face product, both have this very, very strong, like, flowery scent. It is very apparent to me. I'm not necessarily someone who hates strong scents, but certain scents, if they tick me the wrong way, they're just really not up my alley. This has the exact same scent as the Revealer Concealer. However, it's not quite as strong. Like, when I use the concealer, I can spread it out on my under eyes, on my face, and I feel like I can still smell it. This one is much less strong. Like, I feel like the scent, I pumped a little bit onto the back of my hand, and I feel like the scent is fading a bit already, and as soon as I spread it on my skin, I basically don't notice it anymore. So I'm very, very relieved. Despite that I don't like the scent, I can kind of live past it. Whereas the concealer, I pretty much never reach for, because it's just really strong and unenjoyable for me to use. So I wanted to show the shade in Kosas next to the one in Koh Gen Do. So here's 160 and here is 213 in Koh Gen Do. And as you can see, the 160, I have a lot more of the product on. I'll spread it out a little thinner. The 160 is, it's not an orange shade, but in comparison to the Koh Gen Do, it's definitely a bit peachier. Not quite as green, similar depth, maybe just a hint deeper. The Koh Gen Do shears out more, with more translucency to it, is how I would describe it. But in any case, side by side on the hand, they don't look like crazy similar. However, I did want to show how it looks on the face because, you know, I apply it in a thinner layer on my face, obviously. So in the demos, I went ahead and applied the Kosas 160 onto the right side of my face and the Koh Gen Do onto the left side of my face. And I feel like when I have them both on my face next to each other, it's basically not super perceptible that they are very different. I think that the Kosas shade is, again, a hair peachier, maybe a hair darker, but overall very, very similar matches. Overall very good matches for like the rest of my neck skin. I think I'm a little bit pale right now, but I think for the majority of the year, both of these shades work great. So happy with that. And then talking about the formulation of the Kosas itself, it is it's got a little bit of plushness to it. Honestly, I like it a lot. I like it more than I expected because I thought it might be like too dewy, too glowy, but it is, I don't want to say heavy, but it's got a little bit of weight to it, and that kind of holds some moisture in it, but the finish is very thin on my face and it dries down to a super skin-like finish. I didn't powder at all, so I know I'm looking quite reflective. The lighting is also kind of intense right here, so I look super glowy as the light hits it, which is kind of nice. I could have powdered, but in any case, it's not like oily by any means. It definitely feels very satin to me, like satin skin-like with a hint of glow with some luminosity that allows you to peek through, but like I'm not moist or greasy at all, and I really, really enjoy this sort of finish actually. It doesn't dry me out at all, and the little bit of like weight to the product I think carries moisture throughout the day, and like that weight and plushness I find sits over dry patches particularly well. Like the area around my nose is usually a trouble area, but it looks flawless today, like really impressive. So that's the biggest thing that I'm impressed with this foundation, is how it sits over particularly questionable areas of texture. I really like the color of it. I love the finish. I think it is buildable to a medium coverage. The way I personally would wear it is sheared out to like somewhat a light medium on most days. I do think it builds like pretty decently on itself. I put like 1.5 to 2-ish layers on this side of my face, and I just think it looks pretty good. For reference, this side of my face has like half a layer. It has a layer of Koh Gen Do and then like another half a layer of the Kosas on top of it. It's been a few minutes and this on my hand has dried down, and now I think they're even more similar, with the Koh Gen Do being a hint more green, but they're quite similar in coloring. I'm very happy with this product overall. I'm a lot more pleased than I expected. I really don't feel comfortable at all recommending the Koh Gen Do Aqua foundation because of its price point, despite liking it so much. I don't think that these are like head-to-head comparisons by any means in terms of formulation. The Koh Gen Do is like so much more lightweight, and it's also definitely more of a light coverage foundation in my head. But I'm really pleased with how this is working out. I think in terms of shade match, if you are a light olive who has heard of this product but doesn't want to spend so much money, you can save half of it and try the Kosas Kosas Revealer foundation instead. $40 is still not cheap. Oh, a quick tidbit, I also like this more than the NARS foundation, which I recently tried. That one is a bit more finicky. It overall looks very beautiful a lot of times, but this one just feels kind of like a more consistent and user-friendly formula, and it's not quite as glowy and plush as the NARS light reflecting foundation is. But personally, I more so prefer this like satin finish, kind of thin and reliably can sit over like my nose crevice and things like that. So excited to be using this more. In my experience, I haven't done anything like too strenuous in it, but it wears like pretty nicely throughout the day. Nothing like major to complain on. Overall, I must say I'm impressed. I'm not sure how much it is that like the color match is swaying my enjoyment of this product. I don't know. I have to do more thinking on this sort of thing. But I hope this was helpful, and thank you for watching.